So my name is Tony Foggett. I'm the CEO and one of the founders of Computer Love. We're a digital agency based in Manchester. Co started in 1999, so we've been around quite a while. There were 3 of us originally, so that's a creative, a developer and I guess a front guy. And that collaboration of those different skill sets is something that is fundamental to digital businesses and is really fundamental to the agency today.
Hi, I am Stephen Shaw and I am the creative director. As a digital creative director, we produce a real variety of assets. I think this makes, for a reason why for me, I think it's a really creative and exciting job. We can cover a wealth of ground, and I think that's probably the biggest challenge I think for a digital creative director is being able to flex across those different areas, and also for the team to be able to flex across those different areas as well. At Code, we've been doing a lot with branded content and using content to generate conversations in social spaces. Recently we've produced a film for Brother for their labelling product, a mockumentary featuring a lady called Bridget who is a label obsessive.
This week on Meet the Team, we're at Heron's head office to meet with some of the staff members who make up middle management. First up is Bridget Duncan. She's the office services manager. Bridget Duncan, thanks for having us.
I don't know what to tell you, really.
This was quite a fascinating project in as much as the brief didn't ask for a film. The brief started off as a social media engagement brief. Brother wanted to find ways to generate conversation around their labelling product, primarily with secretaries and people who are buying those kind of products for big companies.
I love knowing that whatever you ask for, just give me 2 minutes and I'll find the answer. You know, it's all there in my factory. It was technically called a filing system, but that's what I call it.
Obviously, it's a bit of a challenge. How do you make that product interesting and exciting?
Name something and she's put a label on it.
Sorry, just turn this off.
Everybody needs those little reminders in the kitchen to do the washing up. Sometimes it's nice to just find a fun way to remind people to be better.
I think what's really, really interesting about branded content is it's definitely not an advert. People in social spaces won't put up with it, quite frankly. They want to be entertained and engaged, and that became the backbone for the brief, and that was one of the main reasons why we adopted the comedy format of a mockumentary.
This is my holiday board here. When people go away on their jollies, they're normally this colour, and then they sort of change to this colour, and then by the time they get back, they're normally this colour.
And why also we looked at having Bridget as almost a really inventive kind of character that would use the labelling machine in a crazy kind of way to entertain her co-workers, whilst also having a relatively serious position and a serious job within the organisation that she worked for.
There's a lot of labels, so just outside of my office, I try and keep it practical.
It kind of harks back to things like The Office, and funnily enough, actually, I think the cameraman who worked on The Office also shot our film, so he had that insider knowledge about how to create that mockumentary kind of look. And I think what was really, really good about it is it had a really earnest sense of humour, which I think is also representative of a new dawn in working with video and producing things like branded content, where it's not so much about, I guess, the old days of making viral videos, which I think has become a little bit of an old-fashioned kind of phrase, really, because I think people associate viral videos with you know, quite extreme content of one shape or form, whereas with the Brother video, we did have a few people that we needed to persuade that we shouldn't play those tricks and that actually we should produce just a quality piece of content that we knew would have its own values and its own appeal. And that was probably also a big jump-off point for them, was having faith in the content and really not trying to rely on maybe some of the cheaper tricks that you would associate with, you know, viral videos of years gone by.
I like labels. I like labels a lot.
So that was really good, and we all took a bit of a leap of faith, I think, with that, with wanting to do a bit more of an earnest kind of piece of film. And I think the wonderful thing is that it actually kind of paid off. While We did put some media behind getting the film in front of people. That only paid for a certain amount of views, and I think in the end we had, I think, 3 times the amount of views that we actually paid for, which showed that, I'm going to use the phrase myself, it did have a viral effect and that people were interested in the content and they did share it.
I might need to call somebody in, I think.
And what was fascinating as well is that people really engaged with her as a character on Brother's Facebook page. And with it, loads of people really liked her, some people didn't, but it created conversation, and it created conversation over a really reasonable amount of time, and I think Brother were really, really happy with the end results. It was a really collaborative effort to get to the idea of Bridget. I think, interesting enough, the first idea that we pitched to Brother, they didn't want to buy, and so we had to come back together as a team and have a brainstorm as a group of creatives together to come up with some ideas for where we might take it. One of my creative team kind of came up with this notion of a label obsessive, and I think it was for me to sort of jump on that and try and kind of nurture that. The person who came up with the idea for the film probably hasn't ever made a film before, yet they were the inspiration behind the idea. And then what we kind of then did as an agency was then build a collection of experts in order to deliver that, and that included bringing in some extra script writing expertise and working with production companies to deliver that, and obviously casting agencies and film directors and whatnot. And I think that's also where we have a bit more of a unique approach in that we'll build a bespoke team around a project. I don't think we're ever held back by the potential of doing something, and it's all about really how to create the right team to deliver that project. And the project mentality is something, and the team mentality, if you like, is something that runs through the core of the agency, building the right team for the right job.